I now give the floor to the representative of Israel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Ilana. Your courage honors us all. On October 7th, Hamas stripped you from your home in Kibbutz Nir Oz with your partner Matan Sangauker. You survived 55 days in unimaginable conditions. You are free, but Matan is not. He has been in captivity for almost 700 days. No freedom, no light, no dignity. You were born in Mexico. You came to Israel more than 15 years ago to build your life as a proud Jew. We know your heart is still with Matan and the others. Your testimony is the voice of those who cannot speak. It is a living reminder of the unbearable suffering that the hostages are still enduring. Their freedom cannot wait. The report on sexual violence in armed conflict confirms what we have always known and what Ilana bravely shared. Hamas used sexual violence as a weapon of war. Survivors deserve action, no doubt. Blacklist Hamas now. The Security Council must finally designate them as the terrorist organization they are. So despite all the lies in this room, we will not lose sight of our goal, to bring Matan home, to bring them all home. Council members, some of you have forgotten about Matan. You have forgotten how this all began, and the truth above why it continues. We will not leave them behind. Their freedom cannot wait. That is why the war continues, to free our people and end Hamas's reign of terror. But instead of focusing your attention on the hostages or on the crimes of the Hamas terror organization, a campaign of diversion from these issues continues, an echo chamber that swaps facts for slogans. Look no further for evidence than the IPC report. Maybe we should call it the fabricated report. The IPC lowered its own thresholds to manufacture a so-called famine. It cut the global standard from 30% to 15% for the report only, for this report only, and ignored its second criteria altogether, and I will get to that later. It refused to count most of the aid that did not pass through the UN. It used flawed methods while ignoring the wider data available because it didn't serve its narrative. By design, it misrepresents the true data. Across its many pages, and I'm sure you read some of the report, more than 50 pages. Across its many pages, Hamas is not mentioned even once. The terrorist organization that began this war and steals the aid for its own use is not even mentioned. One of the report's co-authors is Mr. Andrew Seal. Mr. Seal is a radical anarchist who publicly accused Israel of genocide already in October 2023, just days after the massacre of our people. And now, officially, he celebrates the Houthi terrorists as upholders of international law. And he is the one of the co-signer of the report. How could any of you claim this is a legitimate report? If it were any other nation, in any other context, the IPC would publicly apologize for its failures and retract this fabricated report. But because the report demonizes Israel, any claim is taken as fact. And I've listened to you all. Well, how about we examine the actual facts and only then cast judgment? Preliminary analysis by both official Israeli bodies and independent experts indicate that this so-called report includes IPC invented data that did not exist. They invented 182 virtual deaths to reach the threshold of 188, supposedly for famine. So the numbers didn't work for them. There was only 6. So they added 182. So now they can come with this report. Second fact, the IPC cherry-picked data from a survey of 15,749 children. They took data from only 7,519 children, which leads to the desired political result of the report's authors. Third, IPC hid data that contradicts the agenda. The IPC conducted 2 surveys in Gaza and hid one of the surveys in the appendix that shows there is no famine in Gaza. Following these gross forgeries, we are demanding the IPC for the immediate removal of the forged report. Let's continue to examine the facts. Let's speak about the aid. The UN's own records show more than 500 trucks carrying over 46,000 tons of aid have entered Gaza. That's since May 19, 94% of which was food. Yet, according to the UN agenda, if you read carefully, only about 1 in 9 or 8 trucks actually reached their destinations. 1 out of 9. Why? Because armed groups and Hamas terrorists intercepted the rest of the trucks inside Gaza. Not in Israel, not at the gates, not at the checkpoints, inside Gaza. In the same period, more than 7,400 trucks with over 139,000 tons of food and over 2,000 tons of medical supplies entered. But the IPC refused to count them. On the ground, the picture is clear. The crossings are open, despite the daily lies about crossing closures from the mouth of Mr. Tom Fletcher. On a typical recent day, 300 to 400 truckloads are collected inside Gaza, while hundreds more sit waiting on the Gaza side for the UN to distribute it. When partners actually collect and distribute, prices fall. And it's not me saying it or him saying it. You can look at the market price. We have seen the prices of goods fall dramatically, but this fact is also ignored. Prices are the most accurate measurement of shortages. For example, a kilogram of flour has recently fallen by 80% in the markets of Gaza. Non-UN channels are helping to fill the gaps. 90+ community kitchens are serving 600,000 meals a day. 18 hospitals and 12 field hospitals are operating with tens of thousands of tons of medical supplies delivered. Thousands of patients have been evacuated for treatment. We are powering water lines and a desalination plant so hundreds of thousands could easily access drinking water. We continue to work with organizations committed to humanitarian work, not political incitement. Yesterday, World Food Programme Executive Director Cindy McCain entered Gaza and visited both Deir el-Balach and the Gazan side of the Kerem Shalom crossing to see these efforts herself. But the IPC report hides this reality behind intentionally flawed methods. They lower the bar, exclude the aid they dislike, and publish the worst case possible. That is not humanitarian work. That is diversion. This same diversion feeds the next one, statements that reward terror. Colleagues, we all know that not too long ago, There was progress toward a hostage agreement. Mediators were working. There was hope. Then France and the UK made their announcements about their recognition intentions. Many others followed suit. They gave Hamas an out. They told Hamas that if they agree to a ceasefire and release the hostages, they will get nothing from the international community. They encouraged Hamas to disengage and walk away from the negotiations. To those countries, look at your actions and at Hamas's response to them. When France made its announcement, Hamas called it, and I quote, "positive step in the right direction," and urged all states to, and I quote, "follow France," and hailed it as the fruits of October 7. That's how Hamas called your statement, the fruits of October 7. When the Dutch foreign minister resigned a few days ago, Hamas praised his resignation and called it a moral and courageous stance. When Australia changed its policy, a Hamas official thanked the Australian Prime Minister for his, quote, "political courage." These are the people cheering you on: rapists, murderers, kidnappers. You are supposed to stand for Western values, peace, justice, and human rights, but your policy is applauded by terrorist monsters who continue to hold innocent people hostage. I hope that fact might cause these nations to reflect. So I hope the virtue signaling was worth it, worth the pain of the hostages, worth the pain of their families, worth the pain of the civilians in Gaza whom Hamas uses as human shields and political tools. You have set a precedent. Murder civilians and you will be heard. Take hostages and you will be rewarded. Every terrorist group is watching. The lesson is simple: violence works. Now we look to September, where there may be more statements similar to the New York Declaration, which naively states, and I quote, "Hamas must end its rule in Gaza and hand over its weapons to the Palestinian Authority." So I'm asking you, and I will ask the leaders that will come here in September, how do you plan on accomplishing this? How exactly do you plan on removing Hamas from the equation? How do you think it will go? You will ask them to disarm? You will ask them to leave Gaza and bring the PA officials? The last time they had any relationship with the PA officials, and Mr. Mansour can agree to that because I don't know if he was there, they threw them from the rooftops in Gaza. They tortured them, the PA officials. That was the last time any PA official was in Gaza. So when you make a statement, how it will work? We know it will not happen from empty UN statements or meaningless summits. We know you leave the real work to us. You may not say it, but you know it too. At least be honest about what your statements really mean. Empowering Hamas and allowing them to continue to exploit the people of Gaza and threaten the people of Israel, that's what it means if they will stay there. And I tell you today, we will never allow that to happen. Mr. President, this Council can keep chasing distractions or return to core principles. The hostages, say their names, demand proof of life, demand they receive aid, medical care, and visits from the Red Cross. Use real pressure on those who hold leverage over Hamas. Make their return the first sentence of every statement in this chamber until they are home. Hamas's rule must end. Any meaningful future for Palestinians and Israelis require it. You cannot build accountable institutions around murderous terrorists. Israel will keep doing the hard work. We will bring our people home. We will dismantle Hamas's war machine. Ilana, to you, to Matan's family, and to all the families, we will not be diverted. We will not be deterred. We will bring them all back home. Thank you, Mr. President.